What's going on? Move the Mouse here, back in City Skylines with our Let's Play series, Season 2, Episode 2, The Town of Santa Rico. So we're focusing in on the Green Cities content because that just got announced on January 31st. Unfortunately for you PlayStation players, it is not out until February 5th. But for those of you on PC, it's been out for quite a long time, and I've messed around with it a bit myself. And I'm pretty comfortable with it. I think it does present some interesting challenges, and we're going to try and build predominantly green city self-sufficient buildings, local and organic commercial areas. And I want to start kind of getting loose with some of our coastal area here. We do have a tile that we can buy. Do we have one tile or two? We have one tile. I want to get out into the water here. This is kind of a waste of a tile, but there's no way I'm not going to buy this tile over here. I want to have just a couple little loose neighborhoods up here, and I think that might be a fun way to kind of expand up here and build off these neighborhoods. So I think we're going to do that today, is just kind of get loose, follow this shoreline, follow the tree line. We're not going to eat up into the forest a bit any more than we have to. But I think what makes sense is what we're going to do is we're going to come through here and kind of connect out to the coast. And then over here, maybe we could have a little road, maybe that comes off of here, kind of runs through the forest, won't be zoned off, and just kind of connects over here back up to this little area. Now, right now, they are going to be living in front of some sewage, but that's okay. We've got some residential demand, so it might be nice to meet that. We've got a good amount of money in the bank. So let's go ahead and get started. Now, do we connect this through the neighborhood, or do we want to connect it outside? I'm second guessing myself and thinking we should connect it outside. Let's do the kind of coastal road first. So I'm going to switch on my curve tool, and I'm going to kind of snake this around. We'll start over here. I want it to kind of curve and wind with the coast. I'm going to try and keep the zoning kind of right on the edge of the sand there. That should be pretty good. Now, we don't need 4 lanes coming through here. We don't need to support all that traffic, but I do want a road that kind of maybe winds through. Let's look at our terrain. So maybe it'll come through here and slope down just a little bit. Kind of connect over here, and then we can go either way up the coast. Maybe we could even have a little bypass road that goes under the highway over there. That would be kind of cool. But let's kind of curve this out through here and get that all connected. Curve it just a little bit down this slope. And we'll wind it back a little bit. Maybe we can have kind of one little neighborhood or two tucked out here in the trees. And we'll connect it up right like that. And I kind of want to zone kind of along this forest line. So maybe we could have a road that connects through here. Kind of curves along the way. We'll connect it up at a couple spots with that other drag. But I want to space things out a little bit over here. And over this way, I'm going to continue our little 4-lane road way further than we need to. And we'll hook that back up. So we'll come out. Let's see where it wants. Does it give us? It gives us a guide there. So that might be a nice little curve. We'll reconnect our power lines for now. let's get some water over here. And we'll kind of, rather than do the grid, because we're not going to use this space here that's the forest, I'm definitely going to do a looser pipe structure than we need to. But just because we don't need a ton of pipes over here, I'm not going to water this yet, because I'm not sure where if I'm going to move people in up there. But we'll overlap that a little bit. We'll plan on building up to the end of this road for now. Now, I don't want to make it impossible for fire and rescue, so we'll connect a couple of these points through here. Maybe one here at the end of the street. And it's a little bit spaced out, but we're okay with that. Now, the other thing that we'll want to do, I don't need a separate district necessarily, but this is really kind of going to be its own thing. So we'll paint all this, and then we're going to put self-sufficient buildings and the organic and local produce specialties on there. Let's kind of zone it out here. So we'll switch to our fill tool. Just trying to get an idea, kind of feel for what it's going to be like driving into this area. So I kind of like this curvy bit through here. And I think it should break kind of right into houses here. But we're going to space these out a bit. I'm going to go like every other zone on this curve. We'll skip 2 zones because that's a bigger house that can build in there. I just want this to be spaced out a little bit. Make it feel like a looser neighborhood. Now on this corner here, maybe we got a couple corner stores, a couple convenience stores, a little coffee shop that service this neighborhood. And maybe we can do the same thing over here. There's not a lot of demand for this, so this is not going to fill up too fast. But I think this would be nice to have a little bit of shopping over here. And then we'll go back to our residential. And we'll kind of stagger them like this. And maybe there's somebody right across the street there. We can always fill this in if we have a lot of demand and don't like the look of it, but I kind of want to keep things a little bit spaced out. So let's go ahead and hit play. I do at some point want to do like a little neighborhood, maybe a little turnaround cul-de-sac type thing here in the woods. I think would be cool. And then we do have some zoning in here we could do, certainly some space, but I kind of want to leave it spread out a little bit. Now, one thing that I do really want to stay on top of is I want to stay on top of our education needs, and I'm going to do that with the community schools. Let me see where I put the last one. Did I not add education? So for wanting to stay on top of school and having not dropped a school in yet, that's pretty funny. So where is the bulk of our population? Bulk of our population is all right up here. I think that is, yeah, that's a hospital. So we'll move it in right there. I'm thinking from an actual logistical standpoint. Yeah, we'll do there. Now that should have, I believe, 300 capacity? 250, dang. All right, so let's throw a second one in down here. I really want to stay on top of education because I want well-educated citizens. I want to drop into university as soon as possible, and I want to get away from industry. I want to try and pollute as little as possible on this map. Some of it's kind of a necessity. When you get the Industries DLC on console, or if you already have it on PC, you can actually kind of really focus more on forestry and agriculture early on, and you can generate a lot of income for your city and really micromanage it if that's what you're into. And if any of you are thinking of the Flight of the Conchords song, bless you. But the way that we're going to tackle it in this city is just to educate people as much as possible and get them into office jobs. So I haven't decided yet where we want our kind of downtown area to be. Probably on that side of the highway. We'll see kind of where we can expand out to. I feel like that side of the highway is going to be better to kind of separate things out. We'll build like a little downtown area on the edge of that waterfront and upgrade this to kind of a cloverleaf intersection and continue a highway on down that way at some point. But I did really want to buy this tile, even though that was kind of a waste. It gives me this waterfront, lets me work over here up to the highway. So for considering it was our first tile, it certainly was a bit of a waste. Now we do have complaints about workers here. Our residential area over there, unfortunately, isn't necessarily going to solve that problem for people who may not come that far for the commute immediately. But we've also got a demand for a lot more commercial space. So let's take a look at our commercial zoning. Let's see what we can do here. So let's, before we paint that, let's take a look at our districts and see. Right up to the edge of that and make sure that all this is covered. So as we start to expand this out, we really want to keep things green, local, organic. Let's take a look at some of our houses. They do kind of feel the same at some point. Something that you can fix with mods, a little easier on PC. But they do all have this kind of similar look and feel. Now, what I thought was kind of funny is they do mention it, I believe, in the pop-up. Let me see if it's... I read it someplace else. Solar panels, yes. You don't see a lot of solar panels. There's only like one building model that has solar panels. I guess those might be solar panels, but the old school like photovoltaic cells. Sorry, nerddom. But those of you that remember like the old school solar panels that are really obvious, there's only a couple house models that have those. So I'll try and hover over one and point it out when I see it. We got this nice little neighborhood, this little rotary here, minimizing our intersections. We've got some power problems happening. It may be time for a second power plant. Let's take a look. I think I cranked our economy back up. Yes, I did. So let's drop in a second power plant for now. We can't go green power just yet. The way I designed this block is it's just big enough where we can cram 2 coal power plants back to back, and we can keep building them on down the road as we need to. Now, since we are creating a lot more power than we need again, we'll go to info views. Let's see what we're making. Water, we're going to have to sort out. Electricity, we're almost double. So let's go to our budget. Drop it down to like 75. See what that does. That's good. I don't want to micromanage it and keep flipping to that while we're recording. So let's run power over here and then sort out our water situation. So we'll come over. Will you let me get right in the middle there? Thank you. Let's look at what we zoned. We'll go over this one for now. That's fine. Let's just de-zone this tile. And go back to power. We'll come over there. And just connect that straight up for now until we find a better way to spread power out to these kind of isolated neighborhoods here. Looks like the commercial buildings filled in first. I'm such a noob sometimes. So we painted our district, but we did not specialize. So let's see what happens here. So when we change the specialization of an area, it's actually going to cause those houses to move out. Those businesses, rather. Let's zoom back in, and away they go. I thought that did not look like a modern, energy-efficient house. But we got new ones spinning up already, which is nice. So those will all move out because they don't meet the compliance standards for the zone. But as you can see, we've already got new businesses popping up. Little cafe there. Ooh, that's nice. An electric car charge park. And a new resident. So we'll keep an eye on this area. Let's go sort out our water problems. And we'll fix that very simply with a standard water pump and an eco-friendly outlet. And we'll break out our pipes and get that all connected. No. That's not what I did. I did that. Okay. So let me know what you think in the comments down below. Are you excited for Green Cities on console? Are you waiting for some of the other stuff? Are you playing on PC and you already have it? In any event, I really appreciate you tuning in for Season 2 of the Let's Play. I've really been enjoying City Skylines. It's been a ton of fun. It's nice to get this content on console, but I own it all on the PC as well too. I really kind of like the console experience. So I like the UI. I like the slow flow of the controller when it comes to moving the camera. You know, it gives a really nice look and feel. It's really easy for my bad eyes to read across the room when I want to just kick back and play some cities on the couch. But I do really love the PC version as well too. So I've kind of been spending my time kind of evenly split between the two. But definitely in... Why is this abandoned? It's an electric car park with a car in it. There's people walking into it using it right now. Okay, it's abandoned. All right. I mean, it was next to... I was gonna say it's next to 2 other parking lots, but that's really just a really small building with a lot of parking. Oh, for those of you that are interested, I guess it's a good time to mention. I've started creating some assets on PC, and I'll share those out pretty soon. One of the things I've done though is create some parking lots, because a lot of buildings don't have good parking, and it honestly makes a city feel more alive when you've got some parking lots. I noticed the pop-up there. It wants us to build a high school. Green City's alternative to that is the Institute of Creative Arts, a prestigious school for specializing in creative arts. It's an alternative to the high school. So just for a different look and feel, can we cram it in right there without overwriting houses? No, we can't. We can put it right there though. And let's see how that covers our neighborhood out on the coast. Pretty well. What if we come down onto this road though? That covers pretty good. Let's do that for now. Can I cram it on that side of the street? No, because of the way it curves. We'll do it just on the inside of this so that we can continue that down if we want to. Now we will have to run some power lines temporarily. We fill in the space a bit more, but that's okay. We can always delete those later. And we'll get some water connected over here too. Yeah, we'll go over from here. I'll stamp out my grid for the pipes up there. So that is good. Again, I want to really keep on top of education. Let's look at that from the info views panel. Because the better we educate our citizens, the faster we can get them into office jobs and pollute a whole lot less. Now, I find it a little bit concerning that it's only a 400 capacity on that high school. Does it list the capacities? Yeah, 1,000 in the regular high school. That's awful. And these are more expensive too. So 30,000 for that, 24,000. This supports less than half of the students that this covers. That is crazy expensive. Oh, I didn't realize it was that far off. Okay, hit play. Why do none of these buildings have power? Did we decrease our budget too much? Yeah, we did. And this is a great tip for playing. It's a horrible tip for recording, because you have to come in here and constantly manage your budget. But it's a great way to generate a little bit of extra money. I mean, there's a reason why we had money to spend on a school that fits 10 students. I mean, it does look nice. Man, that parking lot is so wonky on that hill. Oh my god. Can you imagine parking your car there? Don't forget to put your e-brake on. You just rip your front bumper off pulling into that spot. Oh my god, that is awful. I should have smoothed out the terrain there a little bit first, I guess. I hope nobody parks there. We've got a milestone. I was wondering why it hung there for a minute. We'll take a look at that in a second. Where is our fire? No. Our eco-friendly house is spewing noxious gases into the atmosphere because it's on fire. Looks fun though. Nice toasted marshmallow. Hopefully that will be okay. Okay, so we're not really resolving our education issues here with so little high school coverage. Elementary, we are good. And I really like the look of these community schools. Like, that looks like a green school. You know, that is very eco-friendly. The Institute of Creative Arts is nice. See from the back here. Definitely an eco-friendly lot. But it's not going to help us get to our ultimate goal of putting everybody in an office job. So let's meet our demand a little bit cheaper and supply coverage up there, because I really want to stay on top of this. Elementary good, high school good, university, as soon as we can drop it in, we will. What is that at? Population of 7,500 in this town, at least. And same thing with the other buildings too. Modern Institute of Technology. 4,000 student capacity for $90,000. This is a 4,500 student capacity for $75,000. So it's really unfortunate. Like, if you want to use these new green assets, it does cost a lot of money. But the gain in the long run is the health of the children. And there's nothing more important than the health of the children. Except maybe money. Depends on who you ask, I guess. So, what did we unlock? Let's pause, step back for a moment, and see what we unlocked at that last milestone. We've started to unlock some transport options. Bus, tram, and taxi, and ferry. Skip right over that. We've got some new policies. Recycling, recreational use, recycling plastic. So let's make sure and turn those on, since we do have a recycling center. And we've unlocked some of our highway objects, which again, I will share out on PC at some point. I'll do a separate version, I'll do a separate video on it, but I've created a bunch of assets and highway intersections and interchanges, so those may be useful to you, just to get some ideas, some tips and tricks. Maybe I'll go through building some of them, but at the very least, I will show you those assets, kind of how they snap in, what the traffic flow is all about, and you can always kind of reinvent them for yourself as well too. We've also unlocked cemetery. What else? We're not playing with disasters on right now though, so we won't worry about any of that. We will circle back and do a natural disaster city at some point. Look at the cutouts on this terrain. I should have smoothed this out first. I wasn't thinking. But that's okay. More natural. We can fill it in with some trees, hide some of that later on. Got a nice little loose neighborhood down there. They still have Poop River. Probably don't want to go swimming there, kids. Stay out of there. Stay out of that water. We'll eventually move the sewage. I think underneath the bridge would be a great spot for that. Or maybe we could even move it up to the downtown area if we do it down there. We'll see as we kind of expand tiles where we go from here. It's an interesting map. There's lots of cool, fun places to build. Relatively flat for the most part. There are some hills here and there, but there's also a lot of these forests that we can kind of curve around like this, kind of work with the lines, and I want to try to do more of that in this map and get away from the grid for the most part in the lower density areas, and then we will definitely grid out when we get into the higher density. So while I've been talking and rambling on, we have a ton of demand. So I think what would make sense is to keep building out this way for now. And definitely we could build out more over here because this rotary can help support a ton of traffic coming in and out on this street here. So let's do that. Let's build some more green neighborhood here. We'll get rid of that street, which was our little marker before. And let's build some more neighborhoods off of here. So we're gonna get rid of one house to do that. That is okay. I don't think I want to come up any closer than this. But the other thing that we could do is come off of this rotary to kind of give us two ways into this neighborhood. Let's see what that was. That was 480. Let's see, we'll disconnect. I'm going to delete that house to do this. We'll come off at like a 45-degree angle or so. I kind of like that. We'll hook up that way. Just to do some different lines and stuff in here. We could do like a big park building here with some trees surrounding it to kind of please this neighborhood here. And then why don't we come back? Let's come back 12. We'll do the same thing over here. We'll kind of come off at an angle until that lines up. And then we'll come over here. Out a bunch. Maybe connect that up over this way. Just getting real free and loose with it. We're going to fill in a lot of the negative space with trees. I'm not worried about overall population size as long as we can get to... What is our upper milestone? 75,000 on this map. So that's not too bad. That's pretty easy to get to with this space that we're playing with. So I don't want this to feel too tight and compact. We get kind of our little town here. Keep things loose on the outskirts. And not zone it too tight. Let's paint our district before we forget, because I did that before. We want to keep the green thing going here, so let's make sure all this is covered. I didn't mean to do that part, because that's going to move businesses out if I do that. I could do this with one of the smaller brushes. That would make this a lot easier. Okay, so we'll fill all that in. Now, this is closer than I want them living to the pollution right now. But that is okay, because we are eventually going to move this industrial area out. And once we drop in things like the Eden Project, pollution won't be a concern anyways. Let's paint in some zoning. Now, this should be, let me double check. This is an extension of the neighborhood that we already did, so we don't have to define self-sufficient buildings and organic and local produce. It's already there. We will give them a little bit of shopping up here to act as just a tiny little bit of a buffer between the residential and the industry. And then we'll make all the rest of... You know what? No, we're going to put a park here and fill that in. We'll do some residential zoning there and then fill the rest of this in with residential. And same thing over here, kind of this way out of the area. We'll do a little bit of commercial. We could even, something to consider is do office and downtown way down there. Bring the highway maybe even like through the mountain. Got some farming areas out there, so there's a lot of different things we could do. But let's see how fast our residential fills in. Maybe we could even consider filling this in a bit more. Could certainly do over here at the very least. see what our water looks like. Okay, that's all covered. Good. This is not. $440. Come on. This is one thing that is definitely easier on the PC, getting the exact snap that you want. What if we can get this in just... There we can. Okay. That works. We want to fill this in just in case, so I don't forget later. We'll just do that. So let's see how fast that fills in. I think the next tile we should buy is definitely going to be to the north so we can get to the highway. And we can expand our industry out maybe over here. Maybe even start pushing across the highway and change this intersection out. We're gonna need a little bit more money before we do that, though. Highway interchanges can be super expensive. And if we're gonna redo it, I'd like to redo it right, rather than just make it a temporary fix. Let's take a quick look. We'll scan through our info views while things are playing in the background. Power, we are going to need to address soon. How close are we on budget? Let's just crank it up. Buy ourselves a little bit of time. We need more industry, but I want to be as slow as possible defining industry because we're going to move that zone anyways. And we've got education working in our favor. Fire safety. Glad that I noticed that. We have no fire protection over here. We've got a little bit of money. We'll put in a small fire station right down here. And then we'll do the next one kind of down here probably. We don't want our very expensive high school to burn down, so let's just do it. So now we've got very little money left. I'm assuming if we didn't put fire over there, then we probably didn't put police coverage either. And we'll do the same thing. We'll drop a little station down here. We'll do our next one down here. Healthcare wise, we've got decent coverage. These people, if they get sick, are in a lot of trouble right now because we've got to drop in a cemetery. I don't want bodies piling up, and that's going to be one of our next spends, and unfortunately we don't have enough money yet. So as soon as we have enough money, we will drop that in. Where actually might be a good spot is like right here. Rather than put a park here necessarily, we could drop this in right at the end of this road. Fill in that area with trees. The dead people aren't going to mind the pollution. At least I don't think that they do. If you know any dead people, ask them. I'm sorry, I don't know. I'm just making stupid jokes. $8,000. Come on. We're gonna drop this in as soon as we have $8,000. Then I'm gonna show you a quick way to make some fast money in a pinch, because we're definitely hurting for money right now, preventing our expansion quite a bit. Okay. So we've got just enough money back and forth to drop that in. We've got a cemetery. We've got good coverage. Let's pause the game. Right now, we are making $1,091, and we need some money. And we have population growth happening. So we have 97 people over the last period moving into the city. Quick little trick. Go into your economy. Again, faster on PC, because you can just kind of click on the slider, but raise your tax rates to the max. Now what we're going to do is we're going to play it on 3 times speed until we start losing population. As soon as we start losing population, we are going to turn it back down. But look at the money that we're making. 2,000, 3,000, right? 4,000. So you're just pulling in a ton of money because you have this tax rate cranked up. People are going to complain, and they're going to stop moving in and start moving out. But we're making a ton of money for the city in the short term. So until we start losing people, I'm not going to worry about it. I'm just going to rake in the cash. And somehow, I don't know how, our population is actually climbing still. Okay, if you want to come pay 29%, I am all for it. Come on in, come on down, like they say on The Price is Right. So okay, now we're starting to see that decline. We're not making as many people. We're not pulling in as many people into the town as we could be. Everybody's complaining about the taxes. This is ridiculous. 29%. Who are you? Who do you think you are? But we're pulling in some good money. Okay, we started to lose population. So now we're going to go back into our budget, bring it down to that sweet spot. At least the sweet spot that I like is 12%. If you have decent service coverage, people are not going to complain. They'll be just fine. And in the meantime, we made $24,000 for our town. The bigger your population is, the faster you'll make money and the more impact a little trick like that can have. But if you're tight on cash, it's kind of a quick way to take out a short-term loan against your citizens. So now that we've got a tiny little bit of money in the bank, let's fix our water coverage problem here. Come down 40. We'll just do that just so that we know where our next break in the water line is. Back in info views, elementary is borderline right now. Do we have a third one over there? We don't have one over there. So maybe we can put one kind of in over on this street next to our high school. Maybe we want to put it smack in the middle of this neighborhood. We've got a bit of residential demand. I kind of like the look of the spread out houses, but I kind of like the look of money too. I think if we do spread out houses, maybe we'll do just a couple spaced out here and there in the trees. But waterfront property is really valuable. So you would never see this as the city eventually expands. So let's do this. We can always dezone and move people out later if we don't like the look of it. But this is going to let us move a ton of people in. And I could do this a little faster with the marquee tool. Just to show you here. You can highlight a bunch of area all at once. Makes it a little bit quicker, but sometimes you highlight squares you don't mean to. So we can go in and clean those up as we see fit. I definitely don't want to zone that road up above. That's going to be for like a tiny little neighborhood that spins off of there. So let's just switch back to our fill and clean up these little things that we missed. Little house right there, why not? Okay, so now we'll hit play, meet some of that residential demand. We don't want to move anybody next the Pooh River, or at least the pipes. Bad enough with that in your backyard. I'm sure it smells great. What are we gonna do about industry? So there's a ton of industry demand. I think we should meet it, and eventually we will move it out. Now, in order to keep things flowing, I think what we could do is this. So we'll break out our one-way roads. We'll come from about there, bring them back into the rotary. So here's what I'm thinking. Upgrade the roads. Because traffic in the industry area can be a real pain in the butt. So let's give them some room to expand, but keep all the traffic flowing the way that we want it to flow. We'll come out to say here for now. That should give us enough room to expand and at least meet some of this demand in the short term. Okay, and then we'll connect these down. I say okay a lot. I apologize. It's my my transition thought. I wish it would show us where that lines up. I guess we could do it this way in reverse. And then just reverse the direction afterwards. So this is a little less eloquent than what will ultimately be the solution, but the principle is the same. You keep the traffic all kind of moving one way. Now you get a little bit of traffic turning in front of, here, let's play it. A little bit of traffic turning in front of one another here. Nothing to really slow things down. Let's bring up our info tools and intersections just to see what's happening here. So it keeps the traffic kind of flowing through the zone that way and out. And if you need to pick up from one business and deliver to another, you just hit the rotary and get back in there. It's fine. So let's zone off that space as industry. You know what? We need it, and it's going to fill up real quick, and I can just overwrite it with a power station later, so we'll do that. We'll even do this for now. No, we're not going to go that close to the residents. What am I saying? No. Bad city builder. Bad mayor. So let's back that off a bit. We'll make sure this is covered with water as we hit play. Pretty close. We haven't had to expand that far up yet. Okay, we'll just bring that over. So we need to find another spot for an elementary, and I think the spot for that is going to be over here. We're going to use only the green city buildings whenever we can. Although, as you saw, sometimes it's a lot less cost efficient, unfortunately. Where? How about right here? Kind of in the middle of this residential area. I think that would be good. Kids, please, whatever you do, do not drink the water. I know it's very tempting. Looks like the chocolate river from Willy Wonka, but it is not. Let's solve our police problem next. And by next, I mean as soon as we have $12,000 in the bank. Police coverage is definitely a little bit light. And we've got crime happening in our nice fancy neighborhood over here. So we want to sort that out. We will do that. And then maybe we'll call it an episode there. Let's see where we're at for the next milestone. 7,500. So we're going to get the metro, which is nice. The cooler thing, though, is the IT cluster. So let's call that up to talk about what we can do in the next episode. We can start to kind of expand towards a... we get high density. We also get high density residential, high density commercial, and office zones. So we'll be able to drop in our university. We'll be able to start planning out a major downtown area with metro stations and things like that. But the other thing that we can do is those office spaces can now be defined as an IT cluster. So the same way that we painted zoning for a district and then defined district specializations, you can also do that. Wow, I can't even highlight the office one right now. So IT cluster basically is going to be kind of like the more efficient buildings. They're going to use more electricity but provide work for more workers, and they end up being these massive tall skyscrapers for tech companies. So what I'll do offline, I won't do any building. What I will probably do is do that little tax trick a couple times. So let me see here. We want to have enough money to at least address the crime problem that we've got going on. So we want to drop in a police station down here somewhere. So hopefully it covers things enough. But maybe I'll see what I can do to get a little bit of money in the bank, because we're going to need a ton of it going forward. We'll be able to take out, I think, our third loan soon, but we're going to have to buy another tile, at least one, because I want to kind of build the downtown kind of near a highway, maybe near the waterfront, definitely on the other side of the highway. I want to separate it out from our little town here. I'm trying maybe go across the water over here would be kind of cool. It's relatively flat. We could work with that. That might be nice. But I'll try and kind of plan that out. We'll try and make some money offline and change the city as little as possible. I know people like to see kind of the build progress, you know, and see everything kind of as it happens. Let's drop our police station in here and call it a day. Let's see. Get into that. I mean, the police did get there eventually, but it is like kind of right in the outskirts of their service area. So this doesn't change it that much. We drop it in over here. We almost have to kind of put it like right in the center of this circle to really cover things. That does great job. But how do we cover these people over here? We go off of this central street where I have kind of commercial buildings. We don't want to cover up the electric car park. It's very important. We can't blow out just one building. We're gonna blow out 2 buildings to do this. So if we did a police station here, do it right there, I guess. What is this? What is this building? Big Bite. We don't want to get rid of the Big Bite. They get the best burgers in Santa Rico. So let's go here for now. It's fine. Police station. Everybody's happy. One less place to charge your cars, but we can deal with it. So I'll see what I can do offline. Try not to do too much building, if at all. Maybe just do the tax trick once or twice. See how things settle down. And we'll probably have a ton of demand when we come back, but hopefully we'll be that much closer to our 7,500 milestone, which is a huge one for this city. Again, with metro, high density, office, and the ability to do IT clusters, but I don't want to do those right away. I want to get the university plopped down first, educate people so that they're ready to step into those jobs. If you drop IT clusters in right away, chances are they're going to have trouble finding workers and they're going to abandon those buildings and businesses, unfortunately. So maybe we'll tuck in one more neighborhood here. Maybe we can expand this a little bit out, move some more people in, keep growing businesses down this center strip. But as you can see, we're having a problem with not enough workers or not enough customers. Not enough educated workers. So, hey, we've got a lot of high school graduates coming. Maybe this creative institute wasn't the best investment. Got a bunch of kids dicking around out front. But we'll find out when we drop a university in if we have enough educated workers. Because the other thing that we have is a problem with not enough workers in general, which is a problem because you can't really have both, at least not easily without really separating districts out. You're either going to have people pushed out of school to go work in industry, or people focus on education and stay with it to deliver more educated people into the workforce. And it's kind of tough to have both. Before I find any more problems, let's see what's up with the power. Electricity availability is getting into the yellow. We can take out another loan and we can drop that in and call it a day. So for now, yet another full power plant. The one that I'm waiting to unlock is a new asset for Green Cities. It's the solar updraft tower. So this one's pretty cool. The warm air goes up, turn the blades of a fan, which produce electricity, and the batteries within it allow it to store electricity and not be affected by day and night, which is a serious problem with solar power plant. It does not produce electricity during the night. This is a new Green Cities option. It is $90,000, but it produces 240 units of power versus the 40 that coal does at 20,000. And the 120 that oil does for 50,000. So this does not pollute. It stores power at night, produces a ton of power, but it is $90,000. And it's a very large tower, but we definitely are going to convert to that before we get to nuclear, which we don't unlock until 42,000. So we're going to save up some money for that. We've got some problems with some of our businesses. We'll sort all that stuff out on the next episode, though, as we continue on building our little green city. And I do really want to separate out kind of this little town feel, keep things very small and residential over here. We'll eventually move this the heck out of here, maybe onto the other side of the mountain or something, hide it away, tuck it away on its own little part of the map. And maybe we'll do a downtown area and we'll figure out where to do that. Maybe across the river on its own little spot. We'll poke around and try and find a spot. If you've got ideas, let me know in the comments down below. As always, I appreciate you tuning in, staying tuned. Likes, comments, shares all help the channel and are greatly appreciated. If you're new here, subscribe for more City Skylines and other great gaming videos. But until the next one, this is Move the Mouse signing off.